What if I told you that from today, a certain type of mistake no longer counts in the NBA? Imagine this. The clock is running down at the end of the quarter. A player grabs the ball and launches a desperate shot from half court. In the past, if that shot missed, it would drag down his shooting percentage, something every player knows is watched closely by fans, analysts, and even future teams that might sign him. But now, the NBA has changed the rules. Those so-called heaves will no longer be counted against a player's field goal percentage. At first, it may sound like a small detail, a simple tweak to the box score, but think about what this really means. It is not just about numbers, it is about player psychology, about how much weight stats have in shaping a career, and about how the league wants to balance pure competition with entertainment. Could this rule alter the way players act in those final seconds, and even the way we as fans experience the game? For years, NBA players have faced a strange dilemma at the end of each quarter. Do you take that half-court heave, knowing it almost never goes in, or do you hold on to the ball to protect your shooting stats? It might sound silly, but percentages matter. They influence how fans talk about you on social media, how analysts compare your efficiency to other players, and even how front offices value you when it comes time for contracts. Some players openly admitted they avoided these shots because they did not want a 1 in 100 chance attempt to show up as a miss on their record. Others took them anyway, showing a mindset of taking every possible chance for points, no matter the cost. This created a debate within the league and among fans. Should a player really be punished statistically for doing the right thing for his team? Or was it fair to include every attempt, no matter the context? By removing these heaves from the official box score, the NBA is basically saying that protecting the purity of the game and encouraging effort is more important than clinging to rigid stats. But here is the question for you. Do you think it was acceptable for players to pass up a shot just to protect their numbers? Or do you believe the stat sheet should reflect every single attempt, no matter what? Now think about what this actually changes on the court. With the fear of lowering percentages gone, players might feel free to take more shots at the buzzer. That means we could see a spike in half-court attempts at the end of quarters. And who doesn't love the possibility of a last-second miracle shot? Every fan knows the electricity of a buzzer beater, even when the odds are almost impossible. This rule could turn those rare moments into something we see more often, bringing extra excitement to games that already thrive on momentum swings. But let's also consider the flip side. More heaves could mean more chaotic endings to quarters, with players forcing up low percentage shots just because there is no longer a penalty. Could that disrupt the rhythm of the game, or will it simply add another layer of drama? As fans, would you rather watch a clean defensive stop to end a quarter, or the thrill of a ball flying across the court with the chance of dropping in and sending the crowd into a frenzy? For players, this change goes far beyond a few extra shots each season. It touches directly on the psychology of how they approach the game. In the NBA, your stats are your identity. Shooting percentages can define whether you are seen as efficient, reliable, or streaky and inconsistent. They can shape contract negotiations and even Hall of Fame debates years later. Imagine being a role player fighting for your next deal. Do you risk a half-court heave that almost certainly will not fall, knowing it could drag your field goal percentage down and cost you money or opportunities? That was the reality for years. Now that weight has been lifted. Players no longer have to choose between doing what might help their team and protecting their personal record. This could free them mentally, encouraging a mindset of taking every chance to score. But it also raises a deeper question. Have we as fans and analysts placed too much emphasis on numbers over impact? Sometimes a player changes the energy of the game without showing up in the box score. Yet for decades, the conversation has been dominated by percentages and efficiency ratings. What do you value more when judging a player? The stats on paper or the influence they bring to the game itself? Coaches will also have to adjust to this new rule. Before, some might not have minded if a player held back on a heave, understanding that protecting stats could help their player's reputation in the long run. Now, there is no downside to trying, which means coaches may actually encourage their guys to throw it up every single time. From a tactical standpoint, that tiny shift could have ripple effects. A successful half-court shot is rare, but when it lands, it can change momentum instantly, energize a bench, and deflate the opposing team heading into the next quarter. On defense, teams may start planning differently too. If they know players are more likely to take that shot, will they try harder to contest or even foul before the buzzer? These are micro decisions that can shape the flow of a game in ways we might not have considered before. And it leads to a bigger question for you. Should a coach always demand that his players take any possible chance to score, no matter how slim? Or is there still a case for prioritizing control and composure over the chaos of desperation shots? When we talk about the NBA, we are not just talking about basketball, we are talking about a global entertainment machine. Every rule change has a ripple effect on how the game is packaged, broadcast, and consumed. By removing the statistical penalty for Heaves, the league may be inviting more highlight reel moments. Think about it. More end-of-quarter bombs means more clips for social media, more viral content, more chances for the NBA to dominate the digital conversation. For fans, this can be exciting because who doesn't want to see more improbable shots finding the net? But it also raises an interesting point about where the league's priorities lie. Is this about making the game fairer for players or about maximizing spectacle for viewers? And how does that affect the way fans connect to the sport? Some will argue that basketball has always been about entertainment, and that these tweaks are part of what keeps the NBA ahead of other leagues in terms of global popularity. Others might say that bending the rules for the sake of spectacle risks diluting the essence of the sport. What do you think? Should the NBA prioritize the show or protect the purity of the game? Not everyone sees this rule change as a win. Supporters argue that it is about fairness. Why should a player be penalized for trying a shot that has almost no chance but could still help his team? They believe this will encourage effort, eliminate hesitation, and reward those who always give their best, regardless of the odds. On the other hand, critics worry that it sends the wrong message. By erasing certain shots from the stat sheet, the NBA could be accused of manipulating numbers and downplaying the importance of accuracy. Some fear it opens the door to more tweaks that make the game feel less authentic and more like scripted entertainment. Others point out that part of the beauty of basketball is that every action counts, and by creating exceptions, the league might blur that principle. This is where the debate gets interesting. Should basketball stats reflect every single decision on the floor, no matter how desperate, or is it better to adjust for context and protect players from unfair judgment? And where do we as fans draw the line between respecting the integrity of the sport and embracing changes that make it more fun to watch? So, what looks like a minor adjustment on paper is actually a window into something much bigger. The NBA's decision to remove Heaves from field goal percentages is not just about statistics. It is about the psychology of players who for years balanced between doing what was best for the team and protecting their personal numbers. It is about coaches who now have one more weapon in their playbook and about fans who may witness more spectacular moments at the buzzer. And it is also about the league itself, walking that fine line between pure competition and global entertainment. The question is how you feel about it. Do you see this rule as a smart way to encourage effort and add excitement? Or do you think it bends the meaning of stats and risks, turning the game into a show first and a sport second? Let me know your thoughts in the comments because this is where the real debate begins. And if you want more deep dives into the stories that shape the NBA, not just on the scoreboard, but in the minds of players and the culture of fans, then make sure you hit that subscribe button and step behind the backboard with us. The real game always starts where the spotlight ends.